Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribhaj Kacharya Ashto Tarasata Shishimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Karantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki ISKCON BBT founder Charya Srila Prabhupada Ki Shri Purushottam Das Thakur Ki Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to Shri Guru Shri Gauranga Shiva. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. First, I'd like to express it's a pleasure to be here, the lotus feet of Shri Shri Radha Parthasarthi, and with all of their devotees, getting your association. I pray that by their mercy and your mercy, I can say something meaningful today. Today is the appearance day of Shri Purushottam Das Thakur. So we'll just read something, not a whole lot of information here, but something to remember him. Shri Purushottam Das constantly meditated on and served the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. Kanu Thakur, his son, was such an exalted devotee that Lord Krishna always lived in his body. When Kanu was 5, Ma Janava took him to Vrindavan. The Goswamis joyously greeted him upon seeing his genuine devotion. In Goloka Vrindavan, Purushottam Das Thakur serves Lord Balaram as a cowherd boy, Dwadasha Gopal. His samadhi is located in the 64 samadhi area. Sometimes a devotee is famous, more famous, for being the father of a greater devotee. You know? Like Raghunandan. Raghunandan was such a great devotee. His father Mukunda, he left him in charge of serving the deity when he was only 5 years old. You know, had so much faith. Yeah. And so Mukunda left. He said, be sure that Krishna eats. You know, meaning that be sure you make the offering. But because he was a young boy, he took it literally. You know. So he made the offering, and then waiting for Krishna to eat. And Krishna's plate was sitting there. Krishna's smiling. And so he insisted, Krishna, please eat. If you don't eat, my father will chastise me. You know. Started crying and feeling very morose that Krishna would not eat. And so finally, the deity came down and ate the whole offering. You know. Then his father came home, and he said, so there's some prasadam? And his wife said, no, there's nothing left. You mean Raghunandan ate everything? No, no. He says that the deity ate it. So, but the boy insisted. So he said, why don't you make another offering, to Krishna? Because there's no remnants left, we will make another offering. So he waited, and he stayed behind looking through the temple door, and he made the offering. But he said, this time, Krishna, please leave something for my father. So Krishna only took half. Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu later, when he met Mukunda, he said, so Mukunda, please tell me, who is the father and who is the son? Are you the father? And no, Mukunda said, no, Raghunandan is the father, I am the son. He has taught me. Just like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Gopal Guru, young boy, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went into the latrine and he held his tongue with his teeth. So Gopal Guru, Gopal at that time, he said, why are you holding your tongue? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, because it's a contaminated place, I don't want to chant the holy name. But then Gopal said, but when we leave this body, the body is very contaminated. And if we don't chant, then we will have to take another body. So therefore we must chant everywhere. And Mahaprabhu said, now I give you the name Gopal Guru because you have become my Guru. Sometimes the boy can instruct the elder. The father the greatness of the father is the son. Of course, Shri Purushottam Das is a great devotee because he's one of the main 12 cowherd boys of Vrindavan. But still his son was even greater. Shri Purushottam Das Thakur ki. Now, we'll read from fourth canto, 16th chapter, text number 26. Tatra giras tas ta iti vishuta vikrama shoshati Atmashita Gata Pitu Pitu Parakrama Tatra Tatra Girastastha Iti Vishutta Vikrama Prosyat Yatma Shvita Ghata Pitu Pitu Parakrama Tatra Tatra Girastasta Iti Vishuta Vikrama Prosyat Yatma Shvita Gata Pitu Pitu Parakrama Tatra Tatra Girastasta Iti Vishkuta Vikrama Yosyat Yatma Shita Gata Pitu Pitu Parakrama Tatra Giristata Iti Vishutta Vikrama Pitu Parakrama Tatra Tatra Girastasta Iti Vishutta Vikrama Satyatmati Dhakata Vaishnavis Tatra Tatra Girastasta Iti Vishuta Vikrama Prasyas Atma Shita Ghata Pitu Pitu Parakrama Tatra Tatra Here and there Gira Words Tata Many Various Iti Thus Vishutta Vikrama He whose chivalrous activities are widely reputed Prosyati will hear Atma Ashrita about himself Tata songs, narrations Pitu King Prithu Prithu Parakrama distinctly powerful. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. In this way, when the chivalrous activities of King Prithu come to be known to the people in general, King Prithu will always hear about himself and his uniquely powerful activities. In this way, when the chivalrous activities of King Prithu come to be known to the people in general, King Prithu will always hear about himself and his uniquely powerful activities. Report. To artificially advertise oneself and thus enjoy a so-called reputation is a kind of conceit. Prithu Maharaj was famous amongst the people because of his chivalrous activities. He did not have to advertise himself artificially. One's factual reputation cannot be covered. Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Shva Padantikam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivashari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, this verse begins, Tatra Tatra. Everywhere. No. Everywhere the praise of Prithu Maharaj will be known. Actually, this verse is in past tense, although it's speaking in future, because King Prithu has already begun to hear, but still it's speaking in future. Translation is in the future. So, Vishuddha Vikrama. No. His activities are widely known. This means that Prithu Maharaj was, in the beginning, as in the previous chapter, Prithu Maharaj was being, it was said that he would be glorified. And he said, please wait until I do something. No? What's the use of glorifying me? In the material world, everyone wants to be glorified without doing anything. No? And even whatever they do, it's not Vishuddha Vikrama. No? It is not something very widely known, it's very wonderful. No? And here it says, Prithu Parakrama. We hear the word parikrama, means to take stepping, going around. But parakrama means big step. No? Just like we have Vikrama, no? Vamanadev, Mahakrama also. So Prithu Maharaj also, this word krama means step or accomplishment. So great accomplishments. He will do such great accomplishments, and he will have to hear about them. No? So hearing about one's own deeds, Prithu Maharaj said previously in the previous chapter that if one does very heinous activities or very sinful or very improper activities, one should not speak about them. And also if one does very great activities, one should also not speak about them. No. Otherwise, this is the principle of humility. And therefore, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, to advertise oneself, as they say, tooting one's own horn. No. So, to advertise oneself is false ego. No. But everyone nowadays is advertising oneself. Modern psychology teaches everyone, you are the most important. No. You are the greatest. You must think very nicely. Why? They have to say that because the material situation of Kali Yuga is so miserable that people are depressed. People are totally lost, have lost the path of self-realization. So, self-realization gives us real happiness. No. What do we want in life? We want happiness. We want peace. We want to be loved. We want to love others. These are the things that everyone is striving for. No. We want friendship. But all these things come from Krishna consciousness. They don't come from being puffed up. And therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Trinadapi sunichena sahishnuna amani namani dena kirtaniya sadahari. That we should be very careful to exhibit a humble mood. Humble doesn't mean that one is doesn't express oneself. Arjuna was very humble while he killed thousands of soldiers. No, we very humbly killed thousands of soldiers. And so humility means that one is submissive before the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And tolerance. A devotee should be able to tolerate anything except for insults to the Lord or the Lord's devotional service. Also, Srila Prabhupada, he wrote one letter, and he said that also one should not tolerate that someone interferes with his devotional service. No. Because service means pleasing Krishna. So if one interferes with one's service, then one is interfering with Krishna's pleasure. No. Therefore, one should not tolerate. But everything else, especially if someone speaks very harshly or very strongly or criticizes us or envies us, we should feel grateful. That one verse in the first canto, I can't remember the Sanskrit now, but speaking about when Shringi has cursed Parikshit Maharaj, and his father becomes very upset, and his father said, I wish that Parikshit Maharaj would curse my son, at least that he will counteract the curse. But I know he won't do it, because he is such a great Vaishnava. Such a great Vaishnava as Parikshit Maharaj will tolerate insult, injury, and even death. Even when someone comes to kill him, he will tolerate it, because that is the sign of a great devotee. So, as it says, then amanina manidena, we don't look for any respect for ourselves, but we want to respect all other living entities. As Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur says, Vishwapunam Sukhayate, that I only see happiness, I only see perfection within this world. No. So how can he say that? We see so many imperfect things. Practically speaking, if one has material consciousness, everything is imperfect. No. Everything is flawed. But if one has Krishna consciousness, if one accepts Krishna as achyuta, infallible, then it means that everything must be perfect. And whatever is happening to the living entities, to the individual or the collective living entities, is ordained by the Supreme Personality of Godhead under the direction of the demigods. So this is basically what this particular verse was saying. I wanted to go to the next verse because it has more meaningful purport. So this is a very short little purport. So I will read the next verse, verse 27, and we can consider it has many more concepts. Yo vichitya patirudha chakra swatejasotpatita lokashalya ta surendra upagiyamana mahanubhavo bhavita patir bhuva. Translation and purport. No one will be able to disobey the orders of Prithu Maharaj. After conquering the world, he will completely eradicate the threefold miseries of the citizens. Then he will be recognized all over the world. At that time, both the suras and the asuras will undoubtedly glorify his magnanimous activities. Here we see just from the verse that when someone is a proper king, he even sees to the benefit of all living entities, even the suras and the asuras. Everyone has, as long as they perform their function properly, they have a right to live somewhere within the universe. Just like Parikshit Maharaj, who was also such a great king, he saw Dharma and Bhumi in a very saddened and distraught condition. And he approached them, and of course he questioned them philosophically. And Dharma, he was so Krishna conscious, so learned, that he said, we can attribute many different causes, but actually the only real cause is the super soul within the heart, who is ordaining destiny to every living entity. And then Parikshit Maharaj, he congratulated them, and then he turned around with his sword to kill Kali. But Kali immediately bowed down. Srila Prabhupada says that this proves that Kali was not a king. Because a king, a Kshatriya, never bows down. He fights and he wins or dies. Those are the two options for a Kshatriya. So he was not a Kshatriya. And Srila Prabhupada says there are so many people dressed as Kshatriyas. Just like nowadays, the head of a country sends the army out and he stays back. He stays back in an office or a bunker, and not like kings who would lead their armies, but he pushes the army out. Let them all get killed. Good business. Then we can make more money. Produce more weapons at the cost of everyone else. This is modern Kshatriya. So, as it says, Suras and Asuras. So, Kali said, please, I'm also, now I'm one of your subjects, so you have to give me a place. Parikshit Maharaj said, there's no place for you in this kingdom, wherever sacrifices are performed. Because you represent thievery, treachery, and so many bad qualities, lack of civilization, everything you misrepresent. He said, but you have to give me some place. Everybody has to have some place. I give you, wherever these four regulative principles are not followed, I give you that place. He said, can you give me something else? Okay, wherever there's gold, have that place also. 5 places. So therefore, na danam, na janam, na sundarim. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu helps us to avoid the influence of Kali. So just like Prithu Maharaj, he conquered the world and eradicated the miseries of the citizens. In the case of Parikshit Maharaj, the citizens were cows and bulls and animals. They all have a right. Srila Prabhupada makes this point again and again. Are they also not praja? No. They were also born praja. So if you're a praja, you have rights. No. People don't want to give them the rights. So Parikshit Maharaj was so great that he fought. He showed that we should protect the cow and the bull and every living entity. Now we'll read the purport. At the time of Maharaj Prithu, the world was ruled by one emperor, although there were many subordinate states. Just as there are many united states in various parts of the world, in olden days, the entire world was ruled through many states. But there was a supreme emperor who ruled over all subsidiary states. As soon as there were some discrepancies in the maintenance of the Varnashram system, the emperor would immediately take charge of the small states. So here Srila Prabhupada emphasizes Varnashram. Why? Because Krishna, Chaturvarnam Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. Because Krishna himself says, I have created this Varnashram system. Therefore, a king must uphold it. And therefore, we can understand that a real king, he must be a Vaishnava. Otherwise, how can otherwise, any other kind of king will simply create some imagined government. If the king is not supporting the Vedic conception, what Krishna has given, what the great sages have given, what Narada Muni has given, then it's useless government. Srila Prabhupada said that the result of useless government is that everyone is miserable. And the effect of good government is that everyone is happy. So we can see what kind of government we have nowadays. Is everyone happy everywhere in the world? No. Anywhere in the world is everyone happy? No. Even whereas there's material prosperity, as Srila Prabhupada comments in his purport of second canto of second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. He says that, where Arjuna says that Krishna, even if you give me riches with the sovereignty of the demigods, I will not be happy. And Srila Prabhupada says that there are so many countries that have so many material resources, but everyone's in anxiety. They're in anxiety because they don't have it, and they're in anxiety because they want more. It's like nowadays, internet, television, everything makes everyone hanker more and more and more. So no one is happy, no one is satisfied. The word Upatita Lokashalya indicates that Maharaj Prithu completely uprooted the miseries of his citizens. Shalya, how does it translate it here? No, Shalya. And Shalya created so many miseries for Krishna. Therefore his name was Shalya, misery. No, his name was misery. The word Shalya means piercing thorns. There are many kinds of miserable thorns that pierce the citizens of a state. But all competent rulers, even up to the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthira, uprooted all the miserable conditions of the citizens. It is stated that during the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthira, there did not even exist severe cold or scorching heat, nor did the citizens suffer from any kind of mental anxiety. This is the standard of good government. Such a peaceful and prosperous government, devoid of anxiety, was established by Prithu Maharaj. Thus the inhabitants of both saintly and demoniac planets were all engaged in glorifying the activities of Maharaj Prithu. Persons or nations anxious to spread their influence all over the world should consider this point. If one is able to eradicate completely the threefold miseries of the citizens, he should aspire to rule the world. One should not aspire to rule for any political or diplomatic consideration. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 16th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Praise of King Prithu by the professional reciters. Srila Prabhupada ki. So this is what Srila Prabhupada says here at the end. No? Everyone is against imperialism. But here Srila Prabhupada says, imperialism is very good if you can make everyone happy, if you can free everyone from mental anxiety, from disease, from heat and cold, and all kinds of unwanted conditions, then imperialism is very nice. No? Srila Prabhupada, in his explanation of the Maha Mantra, he says that we all serve the transcendental autocrat. So autocrat means imperial. No? It means that autocratic system, according to the Vedas, is very good if the king is qualified. If the king's not qualified, then it becomes very miserable. So Srila Prabhupada is making this point at the end of the purport. Now, as far as the duties of the king, we have some different examples in the Bhagavatam of the duties of such a ruler. Just like when Krishna and Balaram were in Dwarka under the rule of Ugrasen, once they had reestablished Ugrasen as the king, then one Brahmin, his sons died one after another, after another, after another. And after the 8th son died, he went to the king and complained. No. How can this happen? What kind of a king are you? You are allowing the son to die before the father. Imagine. This is the duty. How responsible a king must be. That he cannot allow a son to die before his father. No. He cannot allow that there is cold. He cannot allow that there is any miserable condition. Of course, sometimes these types of situations, as was the case, are created by Krishna himself. Of course, in this sense, it was created by Mahavishnu, because Mahavishnu wanted to see Krishna. No? So this shows how great Krishna is. Krishna is so great that even Mahavishnu has to make some effort to get his darshan. No? And we're so fortunate that we have darshan of Shri Radha and Krishna, Shri Radha Parthasarathi, every day available, and sometimes we do not take it. Or we go before the deity with an improper consciousness. No. Mahavishnu, he had to take away 9 sons of the Brahman. And then Arjuna went through a whole deal to try to protect the 9th son. And not only did he die, but he disappeared. The other sons just died. But this one disappeared, totally disappeared. No. Arjuna couldn't find him. No. So the point is that how careful we have to be to take advantage of this mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he has given us direct darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna said, Sarvadhamam parichaja mamekam sharanam braja, that we should surrender. But who can follow such an instruction in Kali Yuga? This was Srila Prabhupada's realization. And therefore Mahaprabhu has come to give us the opportunity. We can come before Radha and Krishna. We can understand who is Radha and Krishna. Previous to Madhavendra Puri, who was actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, entered into his body. Krishna, in the form of Mahaprabhu, entered into his body and empowered him to have a level of understanding that he could teach about Shri Radha and Krishna. So that Mahaprabhu taught himself through Madhavendra Puri about Radha and Krishna. To give us the example of that everything should be received through parampara. But so many people will come here and they will see Shri Radha Parthasarati, but they won't see Radha and Krishna. They will see, here is some God that he will give me some blessing. Here is Krishna, and he's supposed to give me some blessing. But the blessing that Mahavishnu wanted, just let me have his darshan. And Arjuna was very confused when Krishna took the chariot all the way to the causal ocean and to the palace of Mahavishnu. Arjuna was confused because he saw that first Krishna bowed down to Mahavishnu, but then Mahavishnu began to praise Krishna. And Arjuna could understand, who is my friend? Who is this friend of mine? I was thinking Krishna was this was previous to the revelation of the universal form. So he understood this, but because of his friendship, he forgot. Just like after the lifting of the Govardhan hill, all the friends of Nanda Maharaj, they all got together and they said, first we saw Putana killed, we saw Shakatasura, Trinavarta all killed, and all the boys would always say that Krishna did it. And we couldn't believe this. But now we see with our own eyes that Krishna has lifted this hill. He has defeated Indra. So now we can believe, who is this boy? And then they all got a vision of the Brahman. And then they got a vision of the Brahman section. There's a certain section of Vaikuntha that is called Brahman. And they saw that. And they all realized that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But then they forgot. Arjuna also, he realized, but then he forgot. Because for a devotee so intimately connected with Krishna, remembering Krishna as the Supreme Person is not very palatable. So there are other instances of great kings who were concerned about all the citizens. One of the greatest examples is Rantidev. Rantidev, he fasted for 48 days. No food, no water. We can't even imagine that. We fast for a half day and we're all desiring to eat. Just like in the beginning of the movement, one devotee was telling me, I wasn't there that early, but he was saying one of the first times that Prabhupada told the devotees to fast, they had to fast till midday, and the devotees were all in anxiety. Oh no, midday, no breakfast. No, they couldn't believe it. And so then they were fasting, thinking, looking at their watch, looking at the clock. When will midday come? And then finally they were meditating, what would we have at midday? Samosas, this, that. And then midday came, and devotees brought out this big cake, celebrating the appearance day of one Vaishnava. Thinking, oh, Krishna, you're so merciful. So merciful. Now we can enjoy. And they cut up the cake, and everyone took a bite. And maybe because we're fasting, we can't taste properly. You know, our taste buds have took another bite. One more bite. Oh. And then they discovered that the cook put salt instead of sugar. No. They understood that we should serve Krishna, not try to enjoy. But he fasted 48 days with no food, no water. And then very patiently, he sat down with his family. His family also fasted, not to the same degree as him. So he divided up the foodstuffs. 1/2 for my family, 1/2 for me. But the family, of course, they couldn't eat until Rantidev began to eat. So then he was just ready to break his fast. He had some nice preparations of milk and ghee and a nice quantity of water. Then he just moved his hands, and a Brahmin came and said, "Oh, my dear king, I am very hungry. Can you please feed me?" "Yes, you take half." So he took half. Then Rantidev, again ready to break his fast, and a Shudra came. He was thinking the Shudra is in my kingdom, I must give him something. So he gave him another half. Then he was just ready to, there was only a little bit left. And then a man came with some dogs. Said, "My dogs are very hungry and I'm also very hungry." So he gave the rest of everything. And his family sitting there waiting also to break the fast. They had only fasted 1 day. And then he only had water left. And there was only enough water for one person. And then just as he was ready to drink the water, a Chandal came and said, "Oh, I am so thirsty." Rantidev said, "I have to give this water to the Chandal. And he would die. But he thought, these are my subjects. I must give it to them. And actually, because now I have realized that everything belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord, I simply worship Him. He is so kind that He is giving me this. He is giving me this opportunity to serve so many living beings. And so, let me give up this body. And actually, I'm not even thirsty. All my hunger, thirst, anxiety, lamentation, everything is gone by this act of charity, by this act of service. So he was teaching that if we serve, then all of our material desires will go away. People always ask me, how can I give up my material desires? Then you serve. You serve Krishna. You serve the Vaishnavas. Then your material desires will go away. Otherwise, if we serve ourselves, then more and more material desires. So then Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and Indra, different demigods, they all appeared. And they said, actually, we took these forms, Brahma, they were all demigods, because we wanted to test. We wanted to show the world what is a real Vaishnava, what is a devotee of the Lord, how magnanimous is his heart, how he is caring for every living entity. Manidena, wanting to give to every living entity. Such a great personality. Thinking of everyone else. And actually, Rantidev's prayer to the Lord was that, how can I take something for myself when there is someone who is needing something? Let me give everything until everyone is actually happy and pleased and satisfied. Then I can take something for myself. Even Srila Prabhupada said that a Brahmin should, before they eat, they should go outside, out of their house, and they should yell in a loud voice, "Is anyone hungry? Is there anyone hungry?" And first they feed them. And if there's anything left over, they can take it. So now the Brahmins may go outside and they go, okay, now let me go feast. So this is not Krishna consciousness. So this mood of service, this is the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This mood was first exhibited by Sri Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj, he didn't want anything from Lord Nrsimhadev but just to be able to serve him. So he prayed to the Lord. First he said that I'm very afraid of this material existence. But then, after some prayers, he said just the opposite. Naivodvijay paraduratayas vaitaranyas. That everything is so difficult to cross this ocean of material suffering. But because Tvad Virya Gayana Mamrita, that because I am always glorifying you, and Magna Chitta, my consciousness is absorbed in glorifying your sweet transcendental pastimes, I'm not afraid of anything. I don't need anything. But Shacho tate vimukha chetasa indriyartha. But when I think about those who have turned away from you, Maya Sukaya Baramudvato Vimudhan. These Vimudhas, there are Mudhas and Vimudhas. Vimudha means professional fool, advanced fool, Mahafool. So these Mahafools, this is my lamentation. And then he said, Prayena Deva Munaya Swa Vimukti Kama. That these persons, practically everyone, all of these saintly persons, Munaya, he's talking about Munis, Swa Vimukti Kama. They're interested in their own salvation. And therefore, they maunam charanti vijane. They travel to different places. They observe vows of silence. Na, what is it? Na parartha nishtaha. That they are not interested para artha, in benefiting others. They are only interested in benefiting themselves. Naitan bihaya kripana. So, even though I should give up their kripanas, I should forget about them. But vimukti eko, that vimukti eko. But I cannot think of my own benefit. Even though they're kripanas, even though they're miserable, I cannot give up thinking about them. Because, why? Nanyat tvarasya sharanam brahmato pasye. Because I know that they have no other shelter other than you. There's no hope for them other than you. Therefore, I must dedicate myself to serving them, to helping them, to giving them this opportunity for Krishna consciousness. But this is the mood that Srila Prabhupada demonstrated. This is the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the mood of Prahlad Maharaj. This is the mood of Prithu Maharaj. Thinking about the benefit of others. And this is what Srila Prabhupada wants us to do. When Srila Prabhupada was in New York, he was getting very sick. It was like his last trip to New York. So he went upstairs, and he was staying upstairs. And after one program, they had one theater performance. Srila Prabhupada came downstairs with sannyasis, his secretary, and he was apparently feeling weak. Devotees could see that. So while they were in the elevator, and they opened the doors, one devotee said, Srila Prabhupada, I think maybe you should take 1 month, maybe you should, because Prabhupada took 1 month. He went to Nellore in South India. He took 1 month just chanting. But that was years before. So the devotee was thinking, now Prabhupada, you should take 1 month and just recover. And Prabhupada looked and he said, I will die on the battlefield. That is my wish, just like Arjuna. Desire to die on the battlefield. Otherwise, I don't want to take some rest. And then Prabhupada started walking, and he turned back and he looked at the devotees and said, you should also do the same. He was telling us, all of us, not just that group of devotees, but he was telling all of us This is our duty. No. We should give our lives for the benefit of others, for helping others. No. We may not be able to rule the world and eliminate cold and excessive heat and excessive cold, but we can alleviate the misery, the shalya, the piercing thorns of material existence, the threefold miseries. We can help people to eliminate the effects. The miseries will still be there, but if people become Krishna conscious. This was Srila Prabhupada's last lesson. His last lesson was, even though he was suffering so much pain and physical anxiety, he was totally Krishna conscious, showing that if one is actually Krishna conscious, that one can transcend even the most difficult situation, even the most painful situation. Because that's why we are put into difficult situations, to be able to transcend them. Anyone can be happy and think that, or try to be grateful for Krishna consciousness and execute Krishna consciousness if everything goes well, no? And we're thinking, oh, Krishna's very nice, you're giving me this, you're giving me that. Any fool can do that. No? But it takes a great devotee, when in the midst of misery and difficulty, to be happy in Krishna. And to be satisfied in Krishna consciousness. To understand that Krishna is giving me this opportunity, no, to advance. As Srila Prabhupada says, one of my favorite purports, second chapter, purport to verse number 56 in Bhagavad Gita. He says that when a devotee experiences miseries, no, in the mind or in the body, a devotee thinks, oh, Krishna, you are so merciful. I should have been suffering so much more, but you're just giving me this much. You're so merciful. That I should have suffered so much more. You're just giving me enough pain, enough difficulty to understand that this is not my home. This material world is not my home. My home is at your lotus feet. Just like we pray every day to the Prabhupada that the lotus feet of the spiritual master is my real home, Sadma. This is my real home. My real home is not some concrete structure, but to be situated, my consciousness to be situated at the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Gauranga. And then Srila Prabhupada says, and when the devotee gets material prosperity, he thinks, oh, Krishna is so merciful. I don't deserve this, but he is giving me an opportunity to do some service, giving me some facility. No. So whatever the situation is, no, he is very mercifully giving us the opportunity, as it says here. No. And he does this through his devotees. No. And therefore, such devotees are qualified to become king. Actually, the devotees once, they said to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada was talking about distributing his books all over the world. And so the devotees said, when Srila Prabhupada, when we distribute your books all over the world and we take over, they were thinking like that, we'll take over. No. Prabhupada wanted us to think like that. No. Otherwise, you can't do Sankirtan. If you're a defeatist, if you think that this is all very difficult, nobody wants the books, then you won't be able to distribute. But if you think we have to give a book to everyone, we have to give this holy name to everyone, we have to give prasadam to everyone, then, so the devotee said, so Srila Prabhupada, when we take over the world, you can be the king. And Prabhupada said, no, you can be the king. I will be the Brahman advisor. No, I will give you some advice. You be the king. So this is the highest position. But if someone becomes king, then you look out for the living entities. If we are Brahmins, we look out for the living entities. But we are Vaishnavas, and therefore the Vaishnavas paradukkha dukhi, kripabdhir paradukkha dukhi. That the devotee is an ocean of mercy, and the only suffering that they feel is seeing others suffer. So people are suffering everywhere. Therefore a devotee cannot do anything except be an ocean of mercy and try to give this Krishna consciousness to others. Even if one is working and has family and so many engagements, you still can give Krishna consciousness by your own example. Even if you're working very hard and you're working in an office place or something, then you show people. When I first joined Krishna consciousness, I was also working. And I didn't have much opportunity to preach. But I would just try to be as Krishna conscious as possible. And everyone would ask me, why are you happy? No, because I was smiling all the time, chanting and smiling. Why are you happy? We're all miserable. No. And I would explain, well, it's Bhagavad Gita. This makes you happy. No. The holy name makes you happy. And they would take it. So just by being satisfied in Krishna consciousness is a great preaching tool. What to speak if we actually learn Bhagavad Gita and teach it to others, in a humble state of mind. So these are some thoughts on these verses. Our time has expired. I don't know if there's one question, maybe. Huh? Oh, okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj, for giving very nice lecture. Today the appearance of Srila Purushottam Das Thakur. So we see in Gaur Ganudesh Deepika, text number 130, Istok Krishnam Sakha Pragyo Dasaha Sri Purushottamaha. So this Purushottam Das Thakur is one of the 12 Gopalas, very intimate friends of Krishna, and he is Istok Krishna. Istok means is little or small, and Krishna. So he always follows Krishna. He always follows Krishna like a shadow. So he is called Istok Krishna, little Krishna. So he is very much attached to Krishna, but he is smaller in age, younger than Krishna, Istok Krishna.
Any questions? Since I didn't know that we.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for the transcendental lecture. Maharaj, I had a question. Your Holiness had mentioned that when we are in pain and we are going through misery, instead of thinking of ourselves, we should it takes a devotee to be satisfied in that condition and help others. But what, Maharaj, if one is not even convinced about Krishna and one is just thinking, how shall I get out of this situation, and very much bodily attached, what is the solution for those who are faithless?
If they know about Krishna? You mean if they know or they don't know?
I mean, the faith is, I don't have enough faith. Then how can I pass those difficult situations where I am suffering in Krishna consciousness?
Then we have to associate with the Vaishnavas. Where does faith come from? No? Faith, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Shraddha Shabde, Vishvasya Kahe Sudhrida Nishchoy, Krishna Bhakti Saila Karma Sarva Karma Kutta Hoy. That faith means that I have unswerving conviction that by serving Krishna, everything will be taken care of. This is faith. So how do we understand that Krishna will take care of everything? And many times Srila Prabhupada would say, at least you have to have enough faith to understand that Krishna is the Supreme, that Krishna is Achyuta, infallible, that Krishna is speaking, everything Krishna is speaking in Bhagavad Gita is the truth. So what does Krishna say? Yogakshemam baham yaham. I will give you everything you need and preserve everything that you lack. No. So if we have faith, at least that much faith in the words of Krishna, then we have to apply them to our life. Krishna says in so many different places that he will, just like on that particular verse, there was one saintly Vaishnava, what was his name? Arjunacharya. And so he was reading that verse and he was thinking, this couldn't be right. That Krishna, esoterically it may be true, but how can Krishna give everything to everyone? So therefore he crossed out Baham Yaham and he put Karot Yaham, that he will make it happen. And so then he went to take his bath. He took his wife. He was a poor Brahmin, very poor Brahmin. He went to take his bath. And as he went his wife was cooking a little bit of rice that they had. That's all they had. And 2 boys came in big quantities of ghee and rice and dal and vegetables and fruits and so many preparations. They said, my dear Brahmani, your husband has sent us with all these foodstuffs. My husband? Where did he get this? No, he has baked these foodstuffs and now he's sent us. So please take it and cook some very wonderful preparation. Oh, I cannot believe this. How did my husband? But anyway, yes, I will cook. Please sit down and I will cook for you. No, we have to go. No, you please stay. No, we have to go. Actually, your husband, he was so, he spoke so strongly that he actually beat me. You know, and the boy showed his back and he had a big mark across his back. You know. That he beat me, so I don't want to see him again. I'm a little afraid. So they went away. And so then he came back. They saw this big feast. He was expecting to get a little bowl of rice. You know. And so he questioned his wife, what happened? Where did you get this? Oh, what do you mean, where did I get it? You sent these boys and no. Where did you get it? I didn't send any. What boys? Oh, there was one boy, dark complexion, one light complexion boy, you know. They came and what do they look like? And they had beautiful lotus eyes, you know, and lips red like bimba fruit. And he immediately bowed down to his wife. And he said, you are the most fortunate woman in the 3 worlds. That was Krishna and Balaram. You know. Then he realized that when he struck out that word, when he was not having faith in what Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, it was like slapping Krishna on the back. You know. So he immediately erased his and put back as Krishna had said. You know. Realized that Krishna, yes, he will definitely take care of everyone. So someone may say, well, wait a minute. I've seen so many devotees. They have hardships. They have difficulties. They have problems. No. So how is Krishna taking care of them? So Srila Prabhupada explains in that particular verse at the very end of the purport. He says that yoga means that Krishna will bring us together he will give us pure Krishna consciousness if we have full faith and trust in Him. And Kshema, He will protect that. He will protect us and keep us from falling down as long as we follow His instructions. So what do? We accept Bhagavad Gita. We follow Bhagavad Gita. Even though there may be some difficulty, if there's difficulty, just like we just spoke, then we accept it as Krishna's mercy. Tate nukampam susamikshemana. Mungjana evatmakritam vipakam. Because we understand that everything that I'm suffering from in this life, in this world, is atmakrita. I did it myself. I created my own miseries. And Krishna, through those miseries, is creating my happiness by strengthening my faith and my devotion. Because Krishna, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he comments, there's one verse, Yasyami anugrinami. Yes. So, Krishna says, if I favor someone, I take everything away. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, actually Krishna wants to give everything to the devotee. But first the devotee must become qualified. So then he takes away so that he can give. No. So if Krishna is taking something away from us, we should think, just like Sudam Brahman. He thought, oh, Krishna didn't give me anything. But then when he got home, he saw he had these palaces and gardens. That sometimes we may not see Krishna's immediate plan, what he's doing, but eventually we will see it.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj. Please share with us that how you came to Krishna consciousness.
How did I come? By Srila Prabhupada's mercy and the mercy of the devotees. No. They were giving BTG. Vishnu Jan Swami, he gave me a BTG. No. And by that BTG, I became a little attracted, although I wasn't ready. And then later on, Krishna created many miseries in my life. And I found Bhagavad Gita, and then I read Bhagavad Gita, and then yes, Krishna's mercy, Prabhupada's mercy. How I came is not so important. How I stay is more important. We come by Krishna's mercy, and we stay by the mercy of the Vaishnavas, by taking their association.
Thank you very much. One standout point for me was the fact that you said we have to give our life for the benefit of others. Now, this seems such a big challenge for us that even after coming into Krishna consciousness, we probably substitute material selfishness with spiritual selfishness, saying we get task-oriented or we focus on our little set of priorities. How is it that we factor in the need for other people's benefit?
Even if we're a little selfish or self-interested, then again, as we're speaking about, Krishna will arrange things in our life so that we can, if we're trying to be Krishna conscious, if we're at least making our best effort to chant, to hear, to serve somehow or another, then Krishna will make the arrangements that I will realize my folly. I will realize that I'm being selfish, that I'm not giving enough. But the best way to do that is to associate with those who are doing it. Association is the most powerful tool, because Srila Prabhupada mentions in several different places that these qualities of a Vaishnava, you cannot acquire them mechanically. You can't just make them happen in your life. You have to acquire them from those who have it. You can't give yourself something that you don't have. But someone who has it, they can give it to you. So if we associate with someone who is humble, then we can acquire some humility by their mercy. If we associate with someone who is friendly to all living entities and compassionate, then we will develop that compassion by their association. So this is the best way, association, just like we're doing now, associating.
I had a second point, which is in the 27th verse purport. It's mentioned about Shalya, Utpatita Shalya. So there you talked about how Shalya gave a lot of trouble to Krishna, like a thorn. I just want to understand whether you meant Shalva or Shalya, because this Shalya's Madhuri's
Shalva was Shalya.
He had that name also.
Yes,
was also
that name comes from Shalya. He was a big thorn in Krishna's. Of course, you cannot even be a thorn in Krishna's side, because no one can even. But he tried to create so many miseries. And so he was like a thorn. Eliminate the thorn. Anyone else? We have time, one more quick question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for nice giving class. So Maharaj, I have one doubt, that as we go through this chapter, Prithu Maharaj, is that Prithu Maharaj also punished those that are doing the good work, they also get award. They are doing the wrong thing, also Prithu Maharaj gave them punishment. So in that sense, in spiritual, say in society, in ISKCON, if the leaders, if we don't give the right punishment to those are doing wrong things, because sometimes it happens that the leaders, those are very close to them, they are actually partial to giving the judgment. Those are not closer, little far from them, they are having heavy punishment. So in that sense, what is the consequence of the society or in the community? Is the principle is applicable in practical sense? What the consequence means for the leaders, for the society, for the community in that sense? If not following the Prithu Maharaj principle, not following the Vaishnava principle as a...
Okay, I think I understand. Krishna says, Samaham sarva bhuteshu namedveshu stina priyaha. That if Krishna is impartial, then his devotee must be impartial. Which means that even though someone may be my friend, that I must, if they do something wrong, I must chastise or I must correct. We try to correct. We don't chastise. We're not anxious to chastise. We want to correct someone. But if they don't want to be corrected, then we have to chastise. As Chanakya Pandit says, that if you have some part of your body that is, it cannot be cured, then you must cut it off. No. If there's some member of the family that is behaving improperly, they must be rejected. If a town is behaving properly, then the country should reject it. No. And in that way, successively, that if someone is creating a problem, then they must be dealt with. No. So, but sometimes we're conditioned, and therefore we may not be impartial, we may be partial. So we favor someone, and we go against someone else. So of course that's improper. And if we want the society to run properly, then we have to be impartial. That's why usually when you accept responsibility of being a leader in Krishna consciousness, you may not be so popular. No. If you're just a nice saintly person, no, like Chitamrita Prabhu, then everyone loves you. No. But if you're temple commander, then sometimes you may not be so popular. And treasurer is least popular because he doesn't want to give money to anyone. No. So accepting some responsibility, sometimes it creates some difficulty. But we have to do our duty. No. And just as Prithu Maharaj, just as Parikshit Maharaj, management means Kshatriya function. No. So Kshatriya function means first you try to make everyone happy, make sure that everyone has what they need for devotional service. But if someone is acting improperly, then you have to deal with them. No. First with kindness. No, this is the diplomacy, the steps of diplomacy. First you try to convince someone with proper words. Then you write them a stern letter. No. Then you warn them, and then you attack them. No. These are the progressive steps of diplomacy. No. First nice words, and then you may have to chastise. Now we've passed our time. Thank you very much. All glory to Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga, Shri Prabhupada ki, Shri Shri Radha Parthasarati ki, Shri Shri Gauranitai ki, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman, Anantakoti Vaishnava Binda ki Jai.